Hello and welcome. Today I'm joined by Andy Palmer from Seagate to talk about AI and the impact on data centres. Hi Andy, great to have you with us.
Hi Nikki, thank you.
So first of all, from Seagate's perspective, let's talk about AI and importantly the challenges that it brings for data storage.
Sure, well it's a huge opportunity and it's a massive challenge as well. And the reason is because as data grows exponentially, the ability to store it and use it becomes more and more challenging. If you think that as late as 2018, IDC were forecasting that by 2025 we'd be producing 175 zettabytes of data.
Wow.
And they've recently upped that for 2028 to be 400 zettabytes.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's massive growth, and 100 zettabytes of that will be due to AI or generative AI data workloads. And you think that therefore data center managers have got this awful choice to make between, if my data is exploding, do I need to explode my spend on IT hardware, and how do I manage all my resources effectively?
So Seagate were the first to bring out the 30 terabyte capacities, weren't they? What was it that drove the particular need for such high storage?
Well, you think about how data flows, especially in an AI workload. There are data produces insights, insights produces decisions, decisions make actions, actions have results, and the results go back into the data lake, so it all goes around again. It's that kind of circularity which is making the data explode so much. And add to that things like government legislation around AI, data retention policies, richer data, with lots of more video, higher definition video. All these things contribute to the growth of data. And so what Seagate set out to do is to answer the challenge of scarcity of resources. And so for the last 45 years, we've been reducing hard drives. And when I joined Seagate almost 12 years ago, they just launched the 16 terabyte. And people said to me, Palmer, you're a dreamer. No one ever needs that much data. And we're about to launch, we've just launched our 30 terabyte drive. And we've got a route to 50 terabytes in about 3 years and 100 by the end of the decade. And this is about something called areal density, which is how do you cram more data into the hard drive, because the hard drive can't get any bigger physically, because there is a format which is in all computers in all data centers, so it can't get any bigger, so you have to get more data into it. And we've been inching forward in 2 terabyte increments for the last 10 years, and it's just not enough. We've come to the physical limitations of how much data we can add. So we've launched a new technology within our hard drives. We call it Mosaic. It's based on what we call HAMR technology, HAMR being heat-assisted magnetic recording. And effectively what it is, it's a laser. And the laser heats up a tiny dot on the surface of each platter and enables the little molecule, the little atom, to split, to flip. It flips its positive to a negative, positive, negative, 1, 0, 1, 0 binary code. You cram more of those in, you can then increase the capacity within the same footprint within a hard drive, within a data center. You can effectively double the amount of terabytes in the same space. Spinning a hard drive that big takes the same capacity, same power consumption as spinning a 16 terabyte hard drive. So you effectively double your terabytes per watt. And of course, delivering a hard drive, building a hard drive of that size takes half the resources. So it hits 3 areas. Power, space, and the environment.
Well, Andy, you talked there about 30 terabyte capacities and data centres, but of course a lot of your customers are enterprise, so how do you accommodate for them?
Yeah, sure. Well, the plan is that the technology for Mosaic can be deployed in smaller capacity hard drives. So if you think about how we've been growing in the past, it's by adding more platters, adding more heads, trying to squeeze more data onto those platters. And that's fine, and we've been going forward in 2 terabyte increments. Now we're jumping to 10 terabyte increments. We can backfill by taking out platters, taking out heads, and therefore reduce the cost of storage.
So moving all of that data around must take up an awful lot of bandwidth. So how do your customers accommodate that?
It's quite true. The networks can't keep up, even though they deploy the latest fiber optic technology. And bandwidth is by its very nature is busy. There's lots of traffic on there, and data on the move is vulnerable from a security point of view. So what Seagate's done as part of of developing its ecosystem for data centers is developed a service called Live Mobile, And if you imagine a shoebox in which you can stack in 96 terabytes of RAIDed data, at the back of it you've got a very fast Thunderbolt 3 connector or a PCIe connector. So this is now talking about the physical movement of data. You can load your data onto that, put it into a Peli case. We can move it for you via a courier, either to another site of your choice or to a Seagate ingest point, which happens to be in Manchester in Media City, and we can do the uplift for you as a service. And so that's very, very good from the point of view that whilst it's in motion, it's immutable. You cannot change it. It's not networked. So therefore, it's very secure. And we find customers are asking for this more and more, the ability to move data physically around without interfering with the networks.
Absolutely. Peace of mind that that data is secure, like you say, is absolutely paramount, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it opens up a whole new bunch of use cases. For example, where data is being gathered at the edge or the end point. Is more and more varied. So we have car manufacturers who are test driving new models, and they've got these things in the boot gathering the data, and then they just uplift it into our ecosystem. Or we have ships sailing around looking for oil resources, and part of what they have to do is to look at the migratory paths of whales because they can't drill during the migration period. So there's all kinds of different things that data can tell us, and it becomes more than just ones and zeros. It's proper information which is real and is usable.
So you talked about live mobile, but I've actually also heard about live cloud. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So we have launched our own cloud service. We launched it in the US first of all. It's now in Europe. It's in London right now. It's moving to Germany. It's opening in Germany and then across Asia as well. And the idea of it is that Seagate, as a storage company, wanted to strip away all of the extra services that you can get on all the big cloud providers and just be a storage partner. Because lots of companies, in fact, most companies have some kind of multi-cloud strategy where they might go to one provider for GPUs in the cloud, maybe over here for a virtual desktop. We say that's great, but every time you use your data, you move it off a cloud or onto a cloud, they'll also charge you for that as well, ingress and egress. So what Seagate has done is said, we won't do any of that. We'll just charge you a single flat fee for storage, and then if you want to do anything flashy or cleverer, you can move it to a cloud that would do that for you. So we've launched, as I say, in London about a year and a half ago, and it's a single flat fee. It's S3 compatible with no ingress, no egress, no deletion charges, and very, very low monthly prices. So really good value for customers. And what our objective here is to be the storage backbone. So you can see that. So from our high capacity drives, our data moving service and our cloud service, we've got a whole data storage ecosystem.
You were telling me a little bit earlier though that you've got a focus not just on that and the whole ecosystem that you sort of provide. You've also got one eye on sustainability as well, haven't you? So tell me a bit more about that.
We do, certainly, yeah. So Seagate took the decision to be a responsible vendor, and that goes up and down the whole supply chain. So we have 2,500 vendors, of which 10 give us 60% of all our purchases. And so we say to them, you've got to be making sure that your environmentals are sound and full of integrity. And likewise, our customers are asking for us to show what we can do as well. So things like drive circularity programs, drive buyback programs, we can bring back hard drives, recycle them, we can sell them as refurbished. We have our own eBay shop now. So Seagate really is owning the whole life cycle of the products that we sell.
It's important though, isn't it? Like you say, not all that long ago, people were sort of scoffing at the idea of 16 terabytes, but data is everywhere and it's only growing, isn't it? So, things are going to change and grow quite quickly. You were telling me as well about the self-healing aspects as well. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, sure. So one of the challenges of having so much data in one hard drive is that if that hard drive goes wrong, it's a challenge to rebuild the data. And there's a data protection methodology called RAID, and RAID rebuild times often take sort of weeks and weeks. And if the data is being rebuilt, adjacent hard drives are also much more vulnerable. So what Seagate does in our Core Vault range of products is we use erasure coding, which is a different technology. And what it does, it isolates the single platter within the stack which has gone wrong, and it tries to repair just that. And if it can't repair it, then it will just say do not write here. But the other platters in the hard drive are still in service. So the hard drive doesn't need to be withdrawn and thrown away and destroyed, go to landfill, it can still be in service. And we just deploy spare capacity across the array back on to accommodate the missing capacity. So the user, all that's done on the fly with no user interface at all. There's a few implications for that. First of all, I mentioned already drives being destroyed, but the compute layer uses less resources to manage that because it's all done within the enclosure, which means that users can either redeploy their computers, their compute resources to do other things, or they can just halve the amount of cores that they buy and therefore save a lot of money.
Excellent. So you can offer it all, really, so to speak. Like, if people want to find out more, how do they do that and how do they get in touch with you?
Seagate.com. It's all on there. And I think really the message is that we're known for being a hard drive manufacturer, but actually we're so much more than that. We're a storage provider.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Andy. Fascinating stuff.
Thank you, Nikki. Appreciate the time.
And thank you for watching.